it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts, UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if this is the first time you've joined me. Today is the very last day of sale-a-bration, so this is my very last sale-a-bration project. If you are still hoping to buy items so that you qualify for free products, don't hang about. Remember, you can shop, buy and get free products that way. So for every £45 you spend, you can qualify for a free sale-a-bration item. Details of those are over on my website under catalogues. There's the first release, second release and the third release, which are amazing items that are already in the catalogue, and some of those are worth quite a lot of money. So go and have a look at those if you are interested in what's available. At the point where I'm recording this, certainly in the UK, all of the items are still available. There are some of the foreign language versions that for Europe have gone into low inventory, but for English versions, at the point where I'm recording this, which is some days in advance, everything is still available. So that's one way. So for every £45 you get one item, or if you spend £90 you can get two what we call level 1 items, or one level 2 item. These are the new items that have only come in this year, which are slightly they're more expensive things to have produced. So there's some dies, there's a bundle with an embossing folder and a stamp set, so lots to choose from. If you've got a large order, then you also, if you get together with some friends and put in an order that is £200 or more, and I know that's a lot, but if you club together, then you can spread the cost. You then get, in addition to the usual stamping rewards, which at £200 would give you £20 of rewards, so free product to choose from the catalogues, in addition to your sale-a-bration items. But you also, until the end of today, get an extra £20. So if you spent exactly £200, you would get £40 to spend on other items that are retail items rather than sale-a-bration. So that's the shop and the host, because that comes under the host. Joining, if you joined my team today, you would get the usual £130 of products for £99, including free delivery. But you would also get to choose 2 additional free stamp sets, and those aren't the sale-a-bration stamp sets, those are the full price from the catalogue, either the annual or the spring-summer catalogue stamp sets. So don't hang about. You have got until, I think it's 10 o'clock British Standard Time in the evening, but I would do it sooner rather than later. So don't hang about. Back to this project. So this uses the Springtime Foils Specialty Designer Series paper, which is in the second release. It's an enormous bag. I mean, there's my hand. It's huge. It's 9 3/4 inches tall by 3.5 wide by 2 1/4 deep. And it's gorgeous. Imagine what you could get in there. Get some of that ready, shreddy, crinkly stuff, and you could stuff it in there, and masses and masses of stuff. So it's a scoreboard project. It's really easy. You don't even have to cut the paper down. All I would say is there is some debate as to whether you score on the back or the front of this paper, because it's got this sort of satin finish, and some people have found that it is cracked. Famous last words, I haven't. I'm just treating it with a certain amount of respect, and so far that has meant that I've not had a problem. So if you've got a pattern that's going up, so this floral goes up, or leaf goes up, you want to make sure that the top is at the top of your scoreboard. So I had it that way. And with the top at the top, you score at, she says, making sure she can see her notes, 3.5 inches, and I'm not going to score hard, I'm just going to score 5 3/4. These dimensions will all be over on my blog post, which is linked below, immediately below in the description bar. So 3.5, 5 3/4, 9 1/4, and 11.5. Then you turn it so that the bottom is at the left hand side and you score at 2.25. Then turn it over with the top at the top and score at 1 3/4, so 1 3/4, and you're going down to about the 8.5 inch mark. Can you see that? Just about. So here's the 8.5 inch mark. So you're going down to about that. It's not vital, but that's kind of where you want to go. And then at 7 3/8, and again you're coming down to about the 8.5 inch mark. And that is all your scoring that you need your scoring board for. Pop that down. So then grab your ruler, turn the paper over again, and find your scores from the back, and you're going to go from the corner of your score line here to the bottom of your score from the top, and then the same again here. And this is just, you can do this on a piercing mat and it just gives you a bit of give. This is a padded surface, and you do the same over here. So I hope you have had a really good sale-a-bration. I've had a fantastic sale-a-bration. My team has grown out of all recognition, which is just amazing. I am so honoured that people have chosen to sign up with me. We're covering most of the country now, which is amazing. Right, so very, very gently, do not go mad. We are going to gently just burnish. But as I say, don't go mad. We want to make sure we don't crack our paper. So I'm not going to go and, you know, have a real. I'm just very gently folding on all the score lines and just encouraging them to stay put. This is the hardest one because it's right on the edge. And then turn it over, and just on those score lines that we put in from the top, just encourage those. And I'm not even going to burnish those, I'm just going to encourage them. And then the ones that we put in at the bottom, the diagonals, those will just fall into place. So, oops, that way up. Cutting, we want a pair of scissors, always a good start. So from this very thin strip, just take a little wedge there, and then diagonal there, and then for these, I'm basically cutting up, but I'm going to, on the squares, you'll have two squares, there's a square here and a square here, I'm going to very, very, very slightly cut at an angle. I'm not doing a massive wedge, just a little one. So I'll do my straight cut and then just trim that a little bit. I don't want to lose the strength of the bottom of the bag by cutting away too much, but equally I don't want it completely square, because you can find that you get a little bit sticking out the side, and that's not a good look. So if you want a nice flush finish, just trim a teeny weeny. Can you see how teeny that is? It's literally just that tiny bit there. And I'm using it, so it's a bit like in sewing, it's a dart. So just trim it to the point. And that is that. Then I need fast fuse, still in stock in Europe. If you haven't got fast fuse where you are, or you don't like fast fuse, then I would use tear and tape. And then, because this is a symmetrical bag, all you have to do is fold in your edge, and then fold the other edge over to meet it, and as if by magic it meets, and then just make sure that's properly stuck together. Now this is the back, so we're going to fold in the sides. Then we push the back down. I am actually just going to, again, just to strengthen it, pop some fast fuse just down the edges, because that will help strengthen the box. And as it is a big box, we might be putting something large in, and large and heavy quite often go together. So make sure you're square and just line those up. And then from the front, which is this, I'm going to pop more fast fuse. And again, you could use tear and tape and I'm going to be quite generous because, as I say, it might have heavy things in, so we want it well and truly stuck, and then pop your arm in and push against. And there we are. So that's our basic bag. Make sure we've got the front at the front, which we have, and fold all of that. Oh, that's not sitting quite right. I think I might have scored it not quite on the right line there. It was the right measurement, but I think I might have got it wrong. So I'm just going to encourage that to do its thing. There we are. You will get the measurements right. And then at the bottom here, yes, you see I scored it not on the right line. But at the bottom here, those little diagonals will sit quite happily. See, we all get things wrong. Right, okay, so we're nearly done. All we need now, I've got my 1/8 circle punch. If you've got a crocodile, that might be good, because we are going through quite a lot of thicknesses. I want to go past the seam, because then I'm only going through 4 thicknesses, but it will go through. So there we are, and then come in the other side and just line it up by eye, and that's about right, and then punch, and then make sure I've got the front again. Yes. In the previous version, in this version, I used the Pear Pizzazz shimmer ribbon. For this one, because we're working on rose gold and coppery tones, I'm going to use the powder pink, and then with my stylus I'm just going to tuck the ribbon through the hole from the front to the back, pull it through, should be about right, and then from the back to the front. And then if I get my 2 ends together, I can pull that through so that it's even. And there we are. Now, I find if I want to tie a bow that is hanging the right way, I find it easier to do it from the wrong way, so with the top facing me. So all I'm going to do is tie my half knot, and then holding that down. This is where you really need 2 pairs of hands. Holding that down, just tie your bow. And then trim your ends off. Here we are. Trim the ends. Let's go that way this time. So that's the bow, and then some stamping. Now here's a dreadful admission. Back in November I was asked to demonstrate at Onstage this stamp set. I've not inked it up since, so it really is time. So I'm going to be using the Wishing You a Lovely Day, because it should be a lovely day, as it's the last day of sale-a-bration. We're all going to make the most of it. So in basic black, not basic black, basic grey, I am inking up the Wishing You a Lovely Day just onto some Whisper White, and it is a scrap. You can see it's a scrap. So I didn't want anything quite as harsh as black, so hence basic grey. Now basic grey will stain your stamps. They're still perfect to use. Stain is only clean dirt. It's not dirty dirt. So once that's cleaned off with stamping mist and the Stampin' Scrub, that will be fine, but it will still be that colour. The same happens for black. Basic black will stain your stamps, but they're still perfectly good to use. And then because I've used powder pink and I'm going for that whole soft rose gold feel, I'm using powder pink for my stamping over. Now on the original, I used Pear Pizzazz and I stamped it off once. However, because powder pink is very pale, I'm not going to stamp it off. I'm just going to go straight over the top, because it's fine. You can still read the words through, but with the Pear Pizzazz it was a bit too dark. So I'm now going to use my 2-inch circle punch to punch that out. Try and get it in the middle. There we go. And then with a scrap of gold foil, I've got the Starburst punch, and I'm just going to punch that out in gold, and that's to pick up on the gold in the stamens and the dots, rather than going completely coppery. I thought it would be nice to have that hint of gold still. So just to finish this off, we're going to pop some dimensionals on the back of both pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And while I'm doing that, I will do these as well. 3, 4. So let's take the backs off these ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. And because it's a circle, it's nice and easy because you don't have to line it up. It lines up automatically. And then backs off these. And onto, and I just pop it at the bottom. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to get some gold metallic enamel shapes and my piercing tool, and I'm just going to add a gold heart to the bottom of that. And that's it. Simple as can be. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please don't miss out on sale-a-bration. If you're in the UK, please jump over to my online store and fill your baskets with all the lovely stuff you can imagine, and then get your sale-a-bration items free. As I say, the measurements, the correct measurements, without the mistake here, will be over on my blog, which is linked immediately below. I hope you have a lovely Easter, because of course we are on Easter weekend, so have a lovely Easter, and do come back and see me again soon. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye!